Hey friends, so it's been a while. What I've been up to the last couple of days is I have actually been on the move, well specifically moving with Rebecca. I'm set up in a new apartment. This is kind of a interesting situation. Got some fun Halo stuff behind me. I'm still setting up. That's where I've been the last couple of weeks, I'd say. Now that things are finally quieting down, I can actually think about games again, which is kind of weird. It seems almost foreign to not be moving boxes. Let's talk about a couple of things that I've missed. So a lot has been going on. It's enough that I have written down some of it, and I'd like to go over it and give you just a brief summary of what the last 2 weeks of Halo have been like, at least from my perspective. First up, the Halo TV show. I gotta confess that I have not been keeping up with it, and that's a issue that I will correct. The last episode that I saw was episode 3, which I did not. It was fine. Episode 4 I heard was not that great. Episode 5 I heard was very good. Episode 6, who knows? It only just came out, so I'm gonna have to do some binging. The Halo show has been pretty divisive because it's not that faithful to the games. That's not fair. It's selectively faithful. It does some things really well for fans of the games, but then other things it deliberately reinterprets them. And a quick check on Twitter, usually the people that don't like the Halo show are the diehard Halo fans that are like, that doesn't make sense. Why would Chief try to punch Dr. Halsey? But then when you go over to the side of the community that doesn't really play games, they just like this science fiction TV show, they seem really interested in it. That's kind of the goal. It's almost like a Trojan horse for the video games. The idea is you watch this science fiction Halo show that has been designed to appeal to non-Halo fans. They're interested in it. They come over and see what the games are about. The games are obviously different. We've been playing them for a while. So with that mindset in mind that this show wasn't made for me, it was made to court potential new fans, I don't mind some of the changes. That being said, I'll catch up on the episodes and see what's been going on, because I hear it gets kinda dumb, but also kinda cool. Next up, the Master Chief Collection has received not one, but 2 patches in the last couple of weeks, which actually surprises me. When it comes to patching games, 343 opts to withhold patches even if there are game-breaking bugs and just bundle them with content drops, and content drops are usually months apart, which means that 343 Halo games tend to be very buggy and unpolished, and they stay that way for a very long period of time. So the fact that MCC is actually getting just dedicated bug fix patches in between content drops is kind of cool. But we're going to talk about that later, because it also links into something with Halo Infinite. The Halo Encyclopedia. That's something I want to talk about. You see that thing right there? That giant thing right there? That is cool. The Halo Encyclopedia is a wiki's worth of information condensed into a thick book. Look at this. Look how thick this is. And we can open up to literally any page. Look, paragraphs of information on fake guns that don't exist. If you like information and you're bored and you just love browsing wikis, absorbing information about fictional worlds that don't help you in the real world, this is cool stuff. And something that's actually quite surprising is The Banished got quite a lot of love. Flood themselves also got quite a lot of love. And the new faction introduced in Halo Infinite, the Endless, they also got a little bit of love. I learned some things about the Endless. Should that information have been in the games? Sure. But that doesn't detract from how cool this book is. I like this book. If you want to know more about the Halo universe, rarely do I ever try to shill a product, unless it's a sponsor, let's be honest. Gotta pay the bills. But if you want a cool Halo thing, this is a cool Halo thing. I actually like it. I am surprised. Halo Warfleets, that was a book that I didn't find a lot of value in. I thought it was too shallow, too short, didn't give me a lot of stuff. This is more like it. I want more Halo stuff like this. Let's talk about Tatanka. It's a leak. Leaks are probably a thing that 343 isn't a fan of, considering also I'm a Forerunner alongside other Forerunners. But 343 hasn't been doing a very good job at covering up Tatanka leaks. In fact, they seem to have not been doing any kind of job to cover up leaks in regards to it. So it's out in the wild. People know it's coming. It's codenamed Tatanka. Certain Affinity is making it, and it's apparently a battle royale type of thing. That's cool. There's a lot of people saying that 343 doesn't need to chase trends, they should be focusing on the game, and well, that's what Certain Affinity is doing. They're making it with 343's help, while 343, the developers, focus on their game. And in regards to trend chasing, listen, there's a reason that games like Warzone, Fortnite, Apex Legends, and stuff are consistently at the top of Xbox's most played games. There's a reason they're always dominating stream charts. It's because, for whatever reason, people like them. I'm personally BR'd out. I'm very tired of the genre. I played about 20 hours of PUBG when it first came out, and I was like, I'm done. I get it. That was fun. I don't need any more. I enjoyed my time. People like BRs, really like BRs. It's their favorite kind of game, and Halo could do a fun BR for those who enjoy it. And in fact, now that I am living with the beautiful Rebecca, who is over there on the couch, she likes Fortnite. Maybe she'll like a Halo BR, and maybe I'd play a lot with her. Tatanka is cool. I'm a big fan of the idea, and I hope it's interesting. Now, the big one. Playable Elites. That's actually not that big, unfortunately. Sketch recently confirmed that Playable Elites are not on 343's radar. It's not something they're currently working on or even talking about, really, because Halo Infinite needs, resources directed elsewhere. On one hand, that's really disappointing to hear. On the other hand, it's not that surprising. Sketch also did not close the door permanently on Playable Elites. He did say maybe that's something that could be revisited as a discussion in the future. Just right now, 343 does not have the time to approach the topic of Playable Elites. The reason I like Playable Elites is because I think it just gives the community more tools. You can make interesting custom games using Elites. You can make machinimas using Playable Elites, which means just more content for people to make on YouTube, more exposure for the game. They are both a way to customize your character, as well as a tool for the community to use for creating things. It also helps with asymmetrical game types. Could you imagine how cool a UNSC versus Banished game mode would be in Invasion 2.0 with Elites versus Spartans? And while it is very irritating that over the last couple of years, 343 and Xbox have sort of just suctioned and globbed onto this obsession with Halo is Spartan this, Spartan that, Spartan experience, Spartan career, Spartan. Halo has sort of shrunk in scope because of that. The fact that the new kind of leadership at 343 or the new direction that they're going in, that they're not closing the door on Playable Elites. Maybe we will see them one day, especially with Joe Staten there. He kind of understands what Playable Elites are for Halo. He saw the way that it impacted the Bungie games. But something to consider with Playable Elites is it's not as simple as figuring out the third-person animations and the hitboxes. All those first-person animations and stuff, you're gonna have to redo them for those goofy elite hands. So Playable Elites now would be an increase in production costs for 343 because quality has gotten so high. So it's not as simple as just add them. You've got to add them and also bring them up to the quality bar of the Spartans. Their animations, their weight, their handling, their sound effects, their grunts and stuff like that, along with every single weapon needs to be reanimated for elite hands. So I understand just a bit, but come on. Playable Elites are a feature of Halo. Bring them back. And now finally, Halo Infinite Season 2. So Halo Infinite Season 2 is called Lone Wolves. Going into it, I was honestly not that excited because Halo Infinite Season 2 is more or less the response to the flights from last summer and fall. And it's taken a very long time for them to get here. In my opinion, maybe a little bit too long. But 343 did a live stream, and now the time that they're taking is starting to make sense. So I've written some notes, and I want to go over some of them with you. So first up, 343 announced that they're going to be doing a Trello board. If you don't know what a Trello board is, it's basically a way that developers can update a thing internally on the fly. Players can track what's going on at 343. The thing about game development, and this is something I learned as a forerunner, everything is constantly in flux. Very rarely when you set out to develop a game is your vision set from day one and it makes it to completion. Usually it's kind of this trial by fire where you're constantly prototyping, editing, rearranging things, figuring out some things are not working, and so you have to compromise, and you sort of stumble and trip your way to the finish line. And whatever comes out the other end is kind of it. The skill of making a good game is if you can wrangle together all the best pieces of the game while tripping and stumbling, if that makes sense. So Joe Staten actually came onto the stream, and as charismatic as ever, he was very enjoyable to watch and listen to. He said that the game needs to be improved in a lot of ways going forward, and part of the reason that Season 2 is going to be 6 months long, half a year, is basically because, well, Halo Infinite is not in a good state. Not only is it missing content, it's missing like a lot of accessibility features that the community are kind of like, why didn't you guys consider this? It's also very unpolished. It's very buggy. It's probably the most buggy Halo release, barring the MCC. As far as mainline Halo titles go, Halo Infinite I would say is the most broken release for a Halo game, period. So a lot of work needs to be done, polishing up the bugs, fixing them, making the game feel, well, like a proper AAA production. So instead of just focusing on content, they can start focusing on getting the game into a stable state so that it can be then built upon. And that stable state also means adding new features and stuff, which is where we get onto something really cool, which is in Season 2, outlines are finally going to be something that we can slide and turn off. At least now, we can make it look visually more aesthetically pleasing. We can get rid of all that like ugly neon HUD goo and just have Spartans running around. And if you want to know who is friend and who is foe, all of your buddies are going to have their gamer tag above their head. Enemies will not. Something I would like to see 343 actually add is maybe a contextual red gamer tag above the enemies' heads. That way when you aim at them, you see it kind of fade in and it's like a red, it's like got it, that's a bad guy. Where the friendlies, they always have their gamer tag above their head. It's good stuff. I'm happy that this is coming. I did take issue. John Unishek was saying things like, you know, everyone likes Halo and we'd all like more content for Halo. I think that's kind of misunderstanding what the desire for more content, more DLC, more updates is. There is definitely a desire for more content in Halo Infinite, but it's not content as in, we really like Halo and we'd like more of it. It's less about the live service, and it's more about getting you guys to finish the game. Halo Reach released over 10 years ago, and it had more features than Halo Infinite at launch. Halo used to be a series known for its breadth of content, and Halo 5 and Halo Infinite did not have that. So it's not that we want more content, it's that we want you to give us back the content that Halo games used to have. I'll say it again, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Halo Reach is the bar for what a complete Halo game is. All the features of Halo Reach, Halo Infinite needs to have eventually. Once it does, I'll consider Halo Infinite content complete. Right now, it's about maybe 1/4 of the game Halo Reach was. And something that actually highlighted that quite a bit was Joe Staten, God bless him, I love him, but seeing him talk about how fun co-op is and how amazing it is, and he's so excited for it to come to the game and how important it is to Halo, I'm like, he said something that was kind of interesting, actually. He said, the truth is in the software. It doesn't matter what the developer intention was for certain features. When you play the game and it doesn't feel good or isn't fun to play, that's a problem. You know, the software speaks for itself. So 343, they're also playing with us. They're also feeling some of the same gripes as us. It doesn't matter what their intentions were behind the scenes when it comes to things like coding, skins, the challenges. The implementation wasn't great. The software speaks for itself, and the software currently has a lot of flaws. So even internally, 343 is writing up lists of things that they don't like as gamers themselves. So internally, Joe Staten, as well as other people on 343, have been establishing more organized development pipelines. They want to get 343 into a state where they're delivering content more consistently, because 343 over the years have developed, at least for me, a reputation of kind of being a little bit sloppy with rollouts. Usually a 343 release is accompanied by lots of bugs, a lack of polish, and an unusually long time for those bugs to be resolved. And one of the things that 343 are going to be doing is that they're going to be delivering these things called drop pods. So a drop pod is actually something that I've been wanting from 343 for a while. Essentially, it's a monthly quality of life patch. There's not going to be a lot of content there. It's just going to be things like bug fixes, more features, things that probably wouldn't excite players who don't care about this stuff, but for people who enjoy like fiddling and tweaking with settings as well as their games not being buggy. If the game needs bug fixes, they're going to be packaged into this drop pod. It's going to be deployed into the game, and content will come out when the content is ready. Bug fixes will come out when the bug fixes are ready. That's good. I've been wanting them to do that for a while. And hey, maybe that's why the MCC is also starting to suddenly get polishing passes and bug fixes outside of proper content drops. This is good stuff. I like this. Halo Infinite is very buggy. It needs bug fixes. We can't wait too long. It's going to take a while for 343 to get into the monthly rhythm of bug fixes, but that's something they're working on and we're going to get there. The Forge beta. Halo Infinite is really struggling with content, and one of the things that can help that is the Forge tool. 343 is going to be releasing a Forge beta into the game. It's essentially an unfinished version of the Forge tool, but that doesn't mean unfinished as in it's missing content, more as in it's probably going to be a little bit buggy. They then start talking about narrative stuff for the multiplayer, so the whole narrative stuff I don't quite understand. I don't know what 343 is doing with it. Think of like the Academy for Halo Infinite. When we first played that, it was this little tutorial. It works for new players, but outside of that, the Academy doesn't really serve a purpose. That opening cutscene, I don't really know what the point was. Because then, after that cutscene, it suggests we're going to go on this journey. We didn't go on a journey. We hopped into matchmaking, and we grinded a battle pass, you know? So there is a bit of that, like, disconnect, where there isn't actually a story being told. It's a cutscene, and then once the cutscene's over, just hop into multiplayer. Business as usual. What they're going to try to do is bolster the narrative elements of the multiplayer going forward, kind of taking after the likes of Warzone and Fortnite. Hopefully it's a lot less cringy than Warzone. Warzone just feels kind of embarrassing, to be honest. Something I'd also like 343 to do to maybe make the narrative feel a little bit more impactful is they talk about how the lone wolves, they bring something to the Academy, something dangerous, and you actually see it. It's like corrupting one of the Spartans' AI chips. It's like doing something to his brain. He's incapacitated, and they can't remove it or it'll kill him, so it's just eating away at his brain and doing something bad. And Joe Staten talked about how the Academy has been infiltrated by something bad. And the Academy was just a tutorial. As far as the Academy goes, it's just a thing on the main menu where you can play a tutorial or you can play like bot matches. It's not a place. I don't feel an attachment to it. If you want me to feel an attachment to it, you should make that Academy something explorable, something we can jump into. The gun ranges and stuff. Let me walk up to them and start firing weapons. Don't have it just be a thing on the menu. If you want the Academy to feel something emotionally meaningful to me, make it a place that I can explore, because right now it just feels like a series of menu options. They then move over to Jerry Hook, who is one of the design leads for Halo Infinite. And listen, Jerry's a good guy. He gets a lot of thrashing from the Halo community for the challenge system, for the Spartan core system, for just a lot of the issues, the lack of playlists, lack of modes and stuff. He seems like a genuinely sweet guy, and I've talked to him and I can confirm he's a genuinely sweet guy. More importantly than being sweet, he's also very humble. There was a lot of apologizing in the stream. There wasn't a lot of excusing. There was a lot of explanations, though, which I think was important. I don't agree with a lot of the choices made for Halo Infinite's multiplayer. I think they were very backward decisions, but Jerry Hook thankfully explained himself. I understand where he was coming from, and I see where the mistake was made, and Jerry does as well. Jerry fully admitted that the core system moved way too far away from the philosophy of Halo 3 and Halo Reach, where you do feel like you're mixing and matching pieces. He did explain that there is a desire to maintain some semblance of a silhouette, and I do partially agree with that. I don't want a Halo 3 Master Chief Collection situation. It's got like Halo 4 armor legs, and then Halo 3 chest, and then like a Viking helmet. It looks dumb to me. But the armor cores were way too restrictive. So Season 2, don't expect the proper fixes that we want for the core system, but know that it's laying the foundation for a fix to the core system down the road. They're also working on a proper progression system, which we know about. Why it was not there at launch, I have no idea. They also make a joke about George's texture. If you remember, 343 released Halo Infinite with the kit for George's armor, just untextured, the shoulder, there's no texture there, and it stayed that way for a very long time. And they made a joke about how it's fixed now, you know, shoulder gate is dead. It's not that George's shoulder was untextured. That was bad, but it's about how long it took to fix it. It's gotta be faster than that. And I think that's what the drop pods are gonna bring, hopefully. And of course, also some old emblems from Halo 2 are gonna be returning, which they were very excited about. The problem I had is that I was like, can we customize the emblems? Can I change the background? Can I change the colors individually and stuff? Can I mix and match my emblems? No? No, I still can't do that? Okay. I guess just let me know when you guys do that. But outside of that, that's what the live stream. That kind of ended a little bit nitpicky and a little bit negative, but overall I think it's actually pretty positive. Season 2 isn't going to be the season that Halo Infinite needs. This season is more or less a response to the lack of content at launch, as well as some of the things people were saying about during the flighting. It took half a year for them to respond to a lot of that stuff, but here we are now, and some of those responses are coming. And hopefully in November, Jesus Christ, when Season 2 is over, we start to see more speedy additions, more content being added. I want to see less talk about how they're fixing the progression system, fixing the battle pass and stuff, and I want to see more talk about how they're adding back stuff that Halo used to have, because you can have the coolest battle pass in the world, the best store prices and stuff, but when you look at all that and you're like, oh, thankfully they fixed the progression system and the battle pass, and then you return to the game and you're like, oh, that's right, there's nothing to play. Look towards Reach. Get us there. Halo's known for variety. We need variety. And that's all the Halo news. Halo's on the up and up. It was a very hard last couple of months. I think I even said on a stream prior to Halo Infinite's launch, I was like, here's my prediction. Launch is going to be fun, but then January is when things are going to be less fun. And we're going to be in a pretty dark place leading into the summer. But then after that, things are going to get nice. And it seems like the light at the end of the tunnel is finally visible. We're not there yet, but we're approaching it. So hold strong, you know, grab onto your seats and stuff. This bumpy ride is almost over. I hope the developers are doing okay mentally, emotionally. I hope they're all taking breaks, taking care of themselves, being with their family and friends while they're working on this game, because the Halo community gets angry about a lot of things. And it doesn't help that right now they actually have an excuse to be angry. Not an excuse to be downright toxic, but, you know, the Halo community will take that ball and roll with it, which is, I hope the developers are happy. You guys are doing good work. I hope to see you in November when the ball gets rolling a little bit on where the game needs to be. So yeah, that's the Halo news. Halo's on the up and up. That's how I'm feeling. I am set up here, and also I'm going to be streaming on YouTube again because I need to pay the bills. So I hope you're all doing okay. That's what I've been up to for the last couple of weeks, and I will see you guys on the next video, which will hopefully be the evolution of the elites. All right. Stay frosty. I'm not doing that again. I gotta figure out a way to say goodbye.